Good morning, students. Welcome back to the live virtual classes for material costing and cost management intermediate course. In the last session, we had discussed about EOQ, the economic order quantity. So I'm sure all of you must have clearly understood what we mean by economic order quantity and how it is calculated. Today we'll talk about another concept, which is reorder levels. Now, what do we mean by reorder level? Reorder levels means when we should place the order. When should the raw material be ordered? That means how much quantity should be lying with us in our stocks. That time we should place the order. So reorder level is given by the formula maximum consumption. Before that, let's talk about some concepts here. Maximum consumption, average consumption, and minimum consumption. Also, let us discuss what is the maximum lead time, what is the average time, and what is the minimum lead time. What is lead time? Lead time means how much time does it take for you to receive your orders once you have placed them. So once you place the order, it takes some time for you to receive these orders. So time taken to receive the order after the order has been placed. So once you place an order for a good, it might take 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, some time to receive the order, and lead time tells you how much time it will take from the date when you place the order till it is received in your stores. So this can vary. There can be a maximum time, minimum time, and an average time. So for example, the maximum lead time is 10 days. And the minimum lead time is 6 days. So if maximum and minimum lead time is given, you can automatically calculate the average for the two, taking maximum plus minimum divide by 2. So what would be the average lead time? 10 plus 6, 16 divided by 2, that would be 8 days. However, if the question itself tells you that the average lead time is 7 days or 9 days, then you have to stick to that. Then you don't have to calculate 10 plus 6 divided by 2, that is 8. Okay. So that means it takes 10 days, maximum it will take 10 days for you to receive the orders. On an average, generally it takes 8 days, but minimum the time period is 6 days. Now, what is it that you consume during this period? So let's say in this period, you consume how many units, for example? So in this period, maybe your maximum consumption can be, let's say, 300 units per day. And what is the minimum consumption? Let's say it is 100 units per day. So once again, as maximum and minimum consumption is given, the average consumption may be calculated using maximum plus minimum divided by 2. So at any point of time, if average consumption or average lead time is to be calculated, you may calculate using maximum plus minimum. You may take the average of the two, maximum plus minimum divided by 2. However, if the figures for average consumption or average lead time is already given in the question, then you don't have to apply the formula. So average consumption, if I go by the formula, it would be 300 plus 100, 400 divided by 2. So if I calculate consumption, it will be 300 plus 100 divided by 2. So the average consumption is 400 divided by 2. That's 200 units per day. Okay. However, if the question had already given some figure 250 or 180, then you will use that figure only. Before proceeding with calculating any level, please ensure that your consumption is given per day and your lead time is also in days. So it makes sense to proceed from here. However, if the consumption was per day and the lead time was in weeks, then you need to make it similar. So if it is per day, how many is per week? Assuming 6 days in a week, 5 days in a week, maybe the question will tell you exactly how much, but otherwise you may make an assumption and use that figure, right? So this is the information which might be given to you, that how much is the raw material that you are using every day. So it will have maximum consumption, minimum consumption, and average consumption. Similarly, how much time does it take for you to receive the material once you place the orders? There would be maximum lead time, let's say 10 days, average lead time 8 days, and minimum lead time 6 days. These are for example. On the basis of this information, you will have to calculate the reorder level. So we'll calculate what is the reorder level. We'll also see what is the maximum level, what is the minimum level, and what is the average level. So for reorder level, we have to seek a formula which is maximum consumption into maximum lead time. Why are we taking maximum consumption into maximum lead time? Because we want to be 100% sure that even if it takes a lot of time, the maximum possible, and even if the consumption is maximum per day, 300 units, still you will not get out of stock, right? Still there will be enough stock lasting with you so that your production is not going to stop. Okay. Harshal, but into which page? Please clarify. So the reorder level is maximum consumption into maximum time. So if you follow this formula, you can consume a maximum of 300 units per day, and it might take a maximum of 10 days. So your reorder level should be at 3000 units. If you do that, you are absolutely safe. There is no risk. Why there is no risk? Because even if the lead time does not take 8 days, it takes 7 days, it takes 10 days, you are still safe. You have material lying in your stock for 10 days. Then, even if you consume very high, the maximum that you can consume. So, even if you will consume 300 units, and even if it takes 10 days, you have 3000 units lying in your stock. So, you are absolutely sure even despite maximum consumption and maximum lead time, you are not going to run out of stock, right? So this is how you calculate the maximum consumption into maximum lead time. There is also another formula for calculating the reorder level, and that is if you have some safety stock with you. In that scenario, you may also go with average consumption multiplied by average lead time. This means that if I assume that I already keep 800 units, let's say, as safety stock, so what I can do is I can take 800 as safety stock plus average consumption is 200 units per day. And on an average, it might take 8 days for us to receive the order. So it becomes 800 plus 1600. In that case, you are going to place your order every time the number of units in your stocks or warehouse is reduced to 2400. So you will get different answers, right? I'm not looking at the answers. I am looking, I'm not, the reorder level is 3000 units or it could be 2400 units. So if you have 2400 units, the answers for the two formulas will be different and you might get a different answer, but this is also perfectly valid. What it says is, I'm assuming that average consumption would be 200 units every day. And in 8 days, normally I'll receive my order. So 200 into 8, 1600 is what I should have in stock. And just in case there is any emergency, I still have 800 units. Or if there is excessive demand in that period, if there is more requirement, I can fall back on the safety stock which I have, which is 800 units, right? Now, which one is a better formula from reorder levels perspective? Is 3000 units is a good idea or is 2400 units a good idea? Okay, we have to see this. So let me tell you, if reorder level is 3000 units, you are absolutely safe. Safety is 100%, risk is 0. But if reorder level is 2400 units, you might face some problem. If 300 units are consumed each day and the stocks are not received till 10th day. So in that case, your consumption will be 3000 units in these 10 days period till you receive the order, whereas you had only 2400 units. So you will be stock out or there would be shortfall by 3000 minus 2400, which is 600 units will be stock out. If this situation or this scenario happens. So that means there was some risk. You are assuming some risk. It might happen. But as we know that there is the concept of risk and reward, same goes here. So we have to strike a balance between the two. Here, if we keep all the units in stock, we have seen in the EOQ questions also that if we keep a carry lot of units, there is carrying cost. So the carrying costs will increase. So although you are 100% safe, but you are maybe unnecessarily carrying the 600 units or the 800 units. So there will be cost associated with this. So we have to strike a balance between the two. that we may assume some risk, as the nature of business is always that you have to take some risk. Some risk is good for business to ensure good profits, right? Now, how much should be the safety stock? That's another question which we can calculate. So I am summarizing what we talked, that reorder level has two formulas. One, maximum consumption into maximum time. And the second formula is, I'll write MAX dot so far. And the second formula is, if you have safety stock, then you can rely on it. And therefore, you may be a little more wise to take average consumption into average time. This assumes some risk, but you can take that. Okay. How do we calculate? What is the concept of lead time? You see on a chart, let us say time runs here, and this is your reorder level. That means you are placing order at this point of time. So when you place order at this point of time, it might take some time for you to receive this order. So what will happen? You will start consuming from this. This was your existing level of stock. You started ordering from here, and the consumption is from this stock level which you have, and it falls to minimum. The moment it falls to minimum, you receive the stock at this point. Okay. And when you receive the stock, maybe immediately, your level moves up to a maximum level. You reach the maximum level. And when you reach the maximum level here, again, you start consuming the raw material from here, and it falls. You reach here. This is the point at which you place the order. This one, sorry. The point you place an order. And this is the point you receive the order. What is this time? This time is your lead time. Time from placing an order till receiving an order. So by the time you receive your order, the level has gone to a minimum. And when you receive this order, it again moves to a maximum level, right? And then you start consuming from here. It keeps on falling. Again, you reach a reorder level. And at this point, again, you place an order. But until the order is received, your consumption is from here. So this is your minimum point. Once again, this becomes the lead time. Assuming you receive your order again you move to the maximum level. And in case you did not receive the inventory till this point also, you can count on your safety stock here. Safety stock here can be used, right? And somewhere in between, you will find a average level. This should be your average level of stock. Level or units of stock. So we have discussed the formula for reorder level, right? Then what is the formula for maximum level? How do you calculate the maximum level? What is happening is, when you are at reorder level, you placed order for some units. How many units? That is your reorder quantity. And how did you determine the reorder quantity? Yesterday we calculated the economic order quantity. So that is the reorder quantity. So at this point, when you're going to place an order for, let's say the reorder level was 3,000 and you are placing an order for 10,000 units. So what will be the maximum level? 3,000 units is the point at which you placed an order and you have given an order for 10,000 units. So don't you think 3,000 units plus 10,000, that is your highest level, maximum level, right? But this will happen only when there is no lead time. You place an order, you receive an order. You place an order, you receive an order. But that does not happen. Why? Because it takes some time to receive an order, and in this period, you will consume some units. So your maximum level will fall because of that. The minimum consumption you make. So even if you make a minimum consumption, and even if your order is received very quickly in the minimum time, you would have consumed at least this much from the 3,000 units. So what is the formula for maximum level? It's reorder level plus reorder quantity, which is determined by the economic order quantity, minus minimum consumption into minimum time. So let's say at 3,000 units, you placed an order and the number of units you ordered was 10,000. So your maximum level could be 13. However, in this period, you had consumed a minimum of how much? Looking at the scenario here. So if the minimum consumption was also 100 units per day, and even if it took 6 days, minimum time, you would have consumed the 100 units in 6 days. So 600 units would have gone from this 3,000 units. So 3,000 plus 1,000 minus 600, that is 12,400. So 12,400 is the maximum level you will have at any point of time. Your containers are not required to be beyond 12,400. Okay, is it clear? Maximum level will be reorder level plus reorder quantity. Okay, yes. So what is happening is on the x-axis is the time and on the y-axis is the level of stocks. So you decide on a reorder level. That means this, if your stocks reach this level, you're going to place an order. So when the stock level is here, you place an order. This is the point when you place an order. Now, until you receive the order, you are going to consume from these units which you have. So the balance in the level or the stock level will fall. Let's say it falls to the minimum level, and this is the point of time when you have received your reorder quantity. So the moment you receive your quantity here, the level of stock shoots up in the warehouse. Once again, so what had happened? At 3,000 units, you had placed an order, and you had placed an order for 10,000 units. So if you place an order now here 3,000 and you place an order for 10,000 units, your total quantity will become 13,000. But the moment you place an order, it does not happen that you receive it immediately. Why? Because it will take at least 6 days for you to receive the order. And in this period, you are going to consume something. Even if you consume minimum, you consume a minimum of 100. So 100 into 6, 600 units would be consumed in this period, lead time. The time from placing an order till receiving an order. And the moment you receive your order here, the level shoots up to the maximum level. So what is the maximum level? The maximum level is reorder level plus reorder quantity minus minimum consumption into minimum time. Let's take an example. If You are going to spend some money every day, and you decide that the moment the money in your wallet is 2000, you go and get ask your parents to send money to you. Okay? So whenever you ask for money, your parents sends you 20,000 rupees. So what is the maximum amount you will have in your purse? At 2000 rupees, you told your parents to give you money, and 2000, and they gave you a 20,000 rupees. So the maximum level would in your purse or in wallet would be 22,000. But if the parents will take at least 2 days to send money to you, and your daily food requirement or your minimum requirement is 100, so where from that will go? That consumption will be 2 days, 100 rupees, 200 rupees. Okay. So that you will use from your existing 2000 rupees, which means 2000 plus 20,000, 22,000 would be the balance in the wallet only when you do not consume absolutely anything. But you will consume a minimum something, and your parents will also take a minimum some time to send the amount, right? So the formula for maximum level is reorder level. At this level, when you place an order, then how many units you order. So at this level, at 3000, you are going to place an order for 10,000 units. So it would have become 3000 plus 10,000, 13,000. But it will not be 13,000. Why? Because it will take some time, at least a minimum of 6 days to receive these units in our example. And in these 6 days, your minimum consumption is 100 units every day. So this 600 will be consumed from 3000. So 3000 minus 600, that is 2400. And when you reach 2400, you place an order for 10,000 units. Okay. So 2400 would not be the minimum level. Might be somewhere here. 2400 plus 10,000. So 13,000 minus 600, 12,400 units is the level of, which is the maximum level you might have. Okay. So reorder level is clear. There are two formulas, maximum consumption into maximum time. That is when you are 100% conservative, no risk at all. Whereas maximum level is reorder level plus reorder quantity minus minimum consumption into minimum time. Similarly, we calculate what is the minimum level. Now, how do you get the minimum level? This is the reorder level. From here, when you start consuming, you fall to the minimum level. So what should be the formula for minimum level? From reorder level, you start consuming. Here we assume that you are consuming at an average level. Average consumption into average time. So reorder level is 3000. And when you have not placed the order but not received it, until then, you would have consumed on an average 200 units every day, and on an average, it would have taken 8 days for you to receive the order. So, until you receive the order, we are assuming you have consumed 1600 units. 200 into 8, 1600 units. 3000 minus 1600. So, what is your minimum level? 1400 units. This is your minimum level, right? So the formula for minimum level is reorder level minus average consumption into average time. ROQ. ROQ is the same thing that we found yesterday using the EOQ formula. So whatever is your economic order quantity, that becomes your reorder quantity. Whatever is most efficient and most economical, that is the quantity you will place an order. So that becomes your reorder quantity. So you have the reorder level, maximum level, and minimum level. The next is your average level. Average level can also be calculated in two ways. Either you can use minimum level plus maximum level divide by 2. So here the minimum level was 1400, the maximum level was 12,400, and divide by 2. That will give you the average level. Okay, 1400 plus 12,400 divided by 2. Alternatively, average level may also be calculated as minimum level plus half reorder quantity. So minimum level is 1400 plus half of reorder quantity was 10,000. This will give us the answer 1400 plus 5,000. You will get a different answer using this alternate formula. This formula implies that in your stocks, the minimum level will always remain. Okay, this is the minimum level. You will always be at this level. So you have, this will always be there. And at this point, when you receive the 10,000 units here, so 10,000 on an average is consumed. So on an average, 10,000 consumed from 10,000 to this level, 10,000 to this level. So this will be on an average 5,000 held. So 5,000 plus minimum level is your average level. So to sum up quickly, ROL is given by either maximum consumption into maximum time or safety stock plus average consumption into average time. So if you go by average, then you must have a safety stock. But if you go by maximum consumption, that means you are not taking any risk. It's 100% safe. Formula for maximum level, how do you get it? You were at reorder level, then you placed an order for these many units. So reorder level plus reorder quantity will be your maximum level if you don't consume anything, but you will consume a minimum something and it will take a minimum time to receive these order, ROQ. So this becomes the maximum level. What is the minimum level? Minimum level is reached from ROL when you start consuming at an average level. And how do you get at the average level? Again, two formulas are there. Either you can say maximum level plus minimum level divided by 2, or minimum level plus half of reorder quantity. Sometimes you can also place an order in a very emergency situations. Like for example, generally when you order your goods, they are coming by rail or by land. However, if there is an emergency, you may also place an order through using air mode, air flight, or you can get them from that mode. So that is called danger level. So if the level of stocks reaches so below that you have to get them in an emergency into emergency time. So what was your minimum lead time? 6 days. But if there is an emergency, maybe you can get the orders in just 2 days. So your danger level would be 200 units into 2 days, 400 units. So that becomes a danger level, right? I hope we are ready to do some questions on this now. Shriram Enterprises manufactures a special product Z. These are the particulars collected for the year. So he is manufacturing the finished product Z, and the monthly demand for Z is 1000 units. If monthly demand for Z is 1000 units, annual demand becomes 12,000 units. 1000 into 12, that is 12,000 units. However, Shriram Enterprises manufactures the special product Z. So this is a finished product or final product. Whereas when we talk about raw material or material ordering quantity or what are the levels of the stocks of material, we are talking about the raw material which is used in the manufacture of final product. So this is not our usage. This is the production of 12,000 units annually. Usage of raw material is what we are interested in. So normal or average usage of raw material is 50 units per week. So annual consumption will be, this is annual demand for final product. So this is not our concern. Our concern is annual consumption of raw material. So if it is 50 units per week, there are 52 weeks in a year. So it would be 2600. Okay. So maybe one unit or 1 kg of raw material can manufacture 2, 3 units or 5 units, so on. So 50 into 52 is the consumption of the raw material. Arpita has asked a question that we already have the minimum level, maximum level, and what is this again then? All right. We don't have the minimum level or maximum level. What we have is maximum consumption of raw material, average consumption of raw material per day, and minimum consumption of raw material per day. How much is the time it takes for us to receive these units? Maximum, it might take 10 days. On an average, it might take 8 days. And minimum, it will take at least 6 days. So if I place an order today, it will take a minimum of 6 days for the order to reach me. So what are reorder levels? On the basis of your consumption pattern and on the basis of the time it might take for you to receive these orders, you have to figure out when is it that you must place the order. So if I compare, let's say, on an average in your family, you eat a half kg of flour every day. This is the average consumption. Sometimes you have guests. So maybe when you have guests, you consume 2 kgs per day. And sometimes there are people in the family who are not eating or having fast. So let's say minimum consumption is 1 by 4 kg per day. And when you place an order for the flour, it takes at least 1 day. Minimum, you will get it in 1 day. Maximum, it might take because of holidays or something, let's say 3 days. And on an average, you get the raw material in your house in 2 days. So this is what is given. On the basis of this, we are going to decide how much should be the level of the floor in the house so that we can place an order. So if you want to be very conservative, you may assume that you might get guests and it might take 3 days. So when the level is 2 kgs into 3, when the level of the floor in the house is 6 kgs, you place an order and you place a pack for 20 kgs. So this is your reorder level. Now, how will you get the maximum level? From this, when you had 6 kgs, you ordered 20 kgs. So your maximum level will be 6 plus 20. 26 kgs is the maximum container for floor you will have. But that is when you placed an order and you received it immediately. So when you had 6 kgs, you placed the order, you received it immediately, then the maximum level would be 26. However, you're not going to receive it immediately. It will take some time. So it will take a minimum of 1 day, and minimum you will consume 1 by 4 kgs in that day. So 1 by 4 into 1. So 23.75 kgs can be your maximum level. Okay. And then what will be the minimum level? Because here you have placed an order. From here you will start consuming until you receive this 20 kgs. So it will fall to a minimum level. So reorder level from you will eat from this 6 kgs. So reorder level minus on an average half kg per day, and it will take 2 days. So from 6 kgs, by the time you receive an order, you would have consumed 1 kg. So minimum level is 5 kg. At 6 kgs, you place an order. And at any point of time, the maximum level that will go in your house is 23.75 kg. Maximum, minimum, and 25.75. Maximum, minimum, and average consumption and lead time will be ideal for all cases. It will vary from situation to situation. What kind of industry you are in, what is your consumption pattern, what is your production level, what capacity you are working. So this will be decided by everyone who's working in the factory or the manufacturing company. Each might have its own individual figures. So that on the basis of that, they decide when is it that we should place an order and how many units should we place an order for. So what is our minimum level, maximum level, and average level? So looking at this question, Shriram Enterprises manufactures a special product Z, and these are the particulars for the year collected. The monthly demand for Z is 1,000 units. That means 1,000 into 12, 12,000 units are what you manufacture in a year. The cost of placing an order is 100, annual carrying cost is 15. So these are two information which is related to your EOQ. But for EOQ, we need under root 2 into annual consumption into cost of placing an order divided by storage cost of storing 1 unit for 1 year. So here we'll not go by 2 into 12,000, we'll go by 2 into 2,600. Into cost of placing an order is 100 and annual carrying cost per unit directly given 15. So this will tell you what should be your economic order quantity or reorder quantity, right? So you may calculate this 2 into 2,600 into 100 divide by 15 under root. So you're going to place an order for 186.189. Once again, assuming fraction not possible. So let's say we'll place an order for 187 units, or you can round it off as 186 approximately. Not round off to 187, but 186. Right? So reorder quantity comes out to be 186 units. Every time you place an order, you place an order for 186 units. So far clear? Placing cost is given, carrying cost is given, and your usage is given. Yes, we need to take here 2600 units because we are manufacturing Z using some raw material, and that raw material is consumed at 50 units every week. And as there are 52 weeks in a year, the consumption of raw material is 2600 units to manufacture these 12,000 units of finished product. So maximum usage, minimum usage, all this is given further. Normal usage is 50, maximum usage is 75. We are not given the minimum usage, and minimum usage is 25. Sorry, that's also given. And reorder period is 4 to 6 weeks. This means lead time. Reorder period or lead time is minimum 4 weeks, maximum 6 weeks, and therefore on an average 5 weeks, right? So minimum lead time 4 weeks, maximum lead time 6 weeks, and on an average 4 plus 6 divided by 2, average time will be 5 weeks. So this is the time given, and this is the consumption given. Consumption minimum 25, average 50, and maximum 75. Check that whether this is also given per week. 25 units per week. Yeah. So we can use this information, right? So the question says your reorder quantity is 186 units. Consumption is minimum 25, average 50, maximum 75, and lead time is minimum 4 weeks, average 5 weeks, which we have calculated, and maximum 6 weeks. What is the reorder quantity? So we have calculated this 2 into 2600 into cost of placing an order was 100 and cost of storing 1 unit for 1 year was 15. So reorder quantity or is the economic order quantity, which is 186 approximately. Reorder level. Let's use the formula maximum consumption into maximum time. So what will be the answer? Maximum consumption into maximum time. Maximum consumption is 75 per week, and the maximum time it might take is 6 weeks. 450 units. So when your stock is 450 units, you place an order for 186 units. What is the maximum level? At ROL, when you placed an order for ROQ, this is what your maximum level would be if you don't consume anything, but you are going to consume minimum something, and it will take a minimum time to receive. So at 450 units, when you're placing an order for 186 units, this is your maximum level. But in this period, you would have consumed a minimum of 25 units every week for 4 weeks. So it is 450 plus 186 minus 100. 536 units is the maximum level. Minimum level, from the reorder level, you will consume at an average pattern. So average consumption multiplied by average time. From 450 units, you would have consumed on a normal basis 50 units per week, and it would have taken 5 weeks to receive the raw material. So 50 into 5 is 250, and 450 minus 250, 200 units is the minimum level. Average stock level, one is minimum level plus maximum level divided by 2, which gives you an answer as 200 is the minimum level, 536 is the maximum level, divided by 2. So 736 divided by 2, 368 units. Right, great. And second formula for average stock would be minimum level plus half reorder quantity. And minimum level is 200 units and reorder quantity is 186. So average is 293 on the basis of the second formula. You can use any of the two formula, preferably use this if you have short of time in the examination. Don't use both the formulas. So this is how you calculate the reorder levels, minimum level, maximum level, and danger level. Let's say if the lead time in danger was just 2 weeks. So 2 weeks into 50, 100 would be the danger level of stock, right? Once again, if minimum and maximum levels are given, you will calculate the average levels. So minimum and maximum consumption or minimum and maximum lead times are given. Then you calculate the average consumption and average lead time. But if average is given, you will use that only. Average consumption or lead time is given, use that. And if in some times in the question maximum information is missing or minimum is missing, you will use average as a alternative. You will not calculate the maximum or minimum using average consumptions. Okay. I hope it is clear. So this was about reorder levels and how you calculate them and what is the logic for this, right? There is another concept like we talked about. Reorder level has two alternative formulas. One is maximum consumption into maximum time. And the second is if you have safety stock, then you go by average consumption into average time. And with time, we'll see which one is better. You will find that this is a better answer. Why? Because the costs are less if you keep safety stock and base your reorder level at average consumption, average patterns. Okay. So team, so far we have been discussing about inventory management decisions in material cost, being material element of the cost. So we have seen when to place the order by looking at reorder levels. And we have also seen how many units should be ordered at time. So generally, whatever is the economical quantity, that would be your reorder quantity. The whole cycle of material management flows from procurement, inventory, and storage. So the process is that somewhere in the organization there would be a production department. This production department will require the raw material or materials as input to manufacture the final product. So whenever it needs a production, needs a raw material, it makes a request to the stores department where the raw material is stored. The production department will make a request to the stores department that we need raw material on the factory floor. This request is called material requisition, request for material. The stores department issues the material to the production department, gives it back to them, and then after giving the material to the production department, if the store department feels that the stocks are or the reorder level has reached, they will make a request to the purchase department that please purchase this material for us. The reorder level for this material has reached. So they make a request which is called purchase requisition. So production department makes a request to the stores department, which is called material request note or material requisition. And the stores department, when it finds that we don't have now enough stocks, if the production department will ask for units again, will not be able to provide. The stocks are depleting or the reorder level for a particular stock has reached. They'll make a request to the purchase department that please purchase this raw material, which is called as purchase requisition. The purchase department's job is to invite tenders from various vendors. They will search who's the right vendor and get the quotations and select the right vendor. Who will be a right vendor? The one who is supplying appropriate quantity, quality on your terms and conditions. So whatever is your requirement, they're providing it as per that. That becomes they select the right vendor and gives him an order, places an order with him, which is called a purchase order, PO. Okay. So the purchase department has already placed an order and now you're waiting for it to be received. These goods are then received and they are received by the stores department. The stores department will check for the quality, quantity, everything, that whatever was ordered has been received properly, and they will give a goods received note, GRN. It is goods received note. That yes, we are satisfied with the quality and we have received the right quantity. I'm sure all of you are placing orders nowadays online through Amazon, Flipkart, etc. So when you receive these goods, you have to sign it somewhere or you have to give an OTP. That is like acknowledging that yes, we have received the goods in right condition and quality and quantity. So that is goods received note. When this goods received note is issued by the stores department, this reaches the vendor and he reissues a invoice. So he will ask for the amount or money to be paid to him. And the accounts department or the payables team will ensure that these goods, the payment for these goods is now made to the vendor. So if he has given some credit terms, 30 days, so on, so you will make the payment after these 30 days. So the cost center code or the accounts department will then make the payment to the vendor. So this is the entire flow of the raw material in an organization. Production department making a request to the stores department that we need material, which is called material request note or material requisition. Stores department, when finding that the reorder level has reached, will make a request to the purchase department, which is called purchase requisition. Purchase department will ensure that they select the right vendor, right party from whom to get the raw materials. And this department will then place an order with that vendor, which is called purchase order. The vendor will send the goods to you. Then when these goods are received, you check them for, classify them, put them in the stores in a proper manner, and give a goods received note. When this goods received note is received by the vendor, he raises the invoice and the accounts department in the organization makes the payment. Okay. So this was the entire flow. Here there will talk about some theoretical concepts if time permits towards the end of the session. Here, let's take a look at one particular question here. Like we said that the purchase department will look at various vendors. So here you have two sources or two vendors. A company has the option to procure a particular material from two sources, like two vendors. Source one, which assures that defectives will not be more than 2% of the supplied quantity. So let's say source one is saying whatever he supplies, the defectives will be 2%. Let's assume 2%, not more than 2%, but let's assume the defectives are 2%. And source 2 promises or does not make any promise. But on the basis of past experience, we have seen that it provides you a defectives of 2.8%. So you have 0.8% extra defectives. And how much is the material supplied in? The material is supplied in lots of 1,000. So it is observed that material defective from second vendor is 2.8% on the basis of past experience. The source one is promising not more than 2%. And the cost of rectifying the defectives is 5 rupee per unit. So this is the cost of rectifying the defective units. The defective units of material can be rectified for use at a cost of rupee 5 per unit. You are required to find out which of the two sources will be more economical. A simple way is source 2 is giving you 0.8% extra defective, right? 0.8% of 1,000 means 8 units defective, extra defective. If you look at the differential way of solving this question, okay? Differentially, the defective unit is 0.8%. 0.8% of 1,000 means source 2 will give you 8 units extra defective pieces. And the cost of rectifying this will cost you 8 into 5 rupee per unit, that is 40. So you are paying 40, you are incurring a cost of 40 extra, but you are getting a discount of 100 from source 2. So therefore, it is justified to place the order with source 2. Let's solve it. Let's say source 1. Units 1,000. Cost, let's say X. Defectives 2%. 20 units. Cost of rectifying defective Defectives is something which can be rectified. Rectifying the defectives. 20 into 5, 100. At the rate of 5 rupee per unit. Total relevant cost, X plus 100. Source 2, units ordered in lots of 100. Cost will be X minus 100. He's giving you a discount of 100 rupees. Defectives will be 28. Cost of rectifying defective would be 140. Total relevant cost will be X minus 100 plus 140. So the total cost will be X plus 40. Here you have X plus 100 and there you have X plus 40. So source 2 is more economical. Okay. We will place the order with source 2 because it's saving 60 rupees for every lot. So intuitively also you should work out the answer. What is the difference? 100 rupee less, but costing 0.8% extra defectives. 0.8% of 1,000, 8 units. So a discount of 100, but a cost of 40 extra. That means there is a pure saving of 60 rupees with source 2, which you can see here. It's costing X plus 100, it is costing X plus 40. So you will save 60 rupees by making an order to source 2. With every order or every lot, there is a saving of 60 rupees. Team, we have one very illustration 7 in your study material of ICAI, where you will see that there is a question on what should be the level of safety stock. So I will like to touch upon both the questions here. But first, let me explain to you the concept here, and then you will move on to that question illustration also. Or you can go through that illustration where it is said that 100 units are ordered and the probability of that is 0.02. 80 units are ordered and the probability of that is also something. So 0.02, that's the frequency set. So 2 times this happened, sometimes this happened, sometimes the units required were 60, 40, 20, so on, or 0 units stock out. So this happened these many times, so on. Okay, we'll see that illustration also. Let's understand the logic from this question or illustration here. The following information is available in respect of a particular item of inventory of a manufacturing firm. Yes, we can write in differential method also. Try to explain it fully, but you can also do it in differential method. Both the methods are correct. The following information is available in respect of a particular item of inventory of a manufacturing firm. So daily usage can be 2 tons, 3 tons, or 4 tons. This has a probability of 0.2, 0.6, and 0.2. And the lead time can be 25 days, 35 days, 45 days. Here, you cannot, 2 could be the minimum consumption, 4 could be the maximum consumption, but 3 may not be the average consumption, may or may not be. You have done a concept of expected value in your quantitative aptitude module, where expected value in statistics is calculated as summation XI/PI. So the expected or average usage would be 2 tons into 0.2 plus 3 tons into 0.6 plus 4 tons into 0.2. So by chance, it is coming out to be exactly 3 tons. So average consumption is 3 tons. Let's look at average lead time. 25 days into 0.2. I hope this is clear. Plus 35 days into 0.5 plus 45 days into 0.3. 25 into 0.2 is 5 days plus 17.5 days plus 13.5 days. So 17.5 plus 13.5 plus 5. 36 days is the average lead time. Okay. So far we have calculated two important things. What is the expected usage and what is the expected lead time? Here expected will serve the purpose of average. So average is 3 tons and average lead time is 36 days. Now, if you had gone by the concept of maximum consumption into maximum times, your reorder level would have been 4 ton into 45 days, which is 180 units. Maximum consumption into maximum time, 4 into 45. But if you go by average, it is 36 into 3, 108 units. So there has to be some safety stock in which is anywhere between 0 to 72 units. So this is for sure your average consumption is 108 units. This is the minimum you will place a reorder level at. And if you go by maximum, it is 180. So your reorder level should be depending upon what safety stock you should keep. So this is a question of what is the appropriate level of safety stock. If it is 0, your reorder level is 108. And if it is 72, how do you get this? 180 minus 108 is 72. So you don't need a safety stock of more than 72 for sure. Yes, I told you that if average is given, we don't have to calculate ourselves. But in this case, average is not given. The usage is given with probabilities. So you cannot take the middle term as the average. In the previous questions, there was no probability associated with it. So here the average will come out using this formula of expected value. That is the average. Had this been minimum time, average time, maximum time, I would have stick to 35, but it's not saying average. It is saying these lead days with this probability. So the average comes out to be 36, mathematically, statistically. So I can keep a safety stock of 0, which means I will place a reorder level at 108. I might keep a safety stock of 72, which means the reorder level is 108 plus 72, 180. But the right level of safety stock will come somewhere between 0 and 72. How is it calculated? Let's see. So it depends upon what should be the optimum level of safety stock. That's the question. Probability of stockout, given that carrying cost is 2000 and stockout cost is 8000, which means if you are stockout, It's really going to impact your goodwill. You will not be able to supply your product to the customers. So therefore, this situation is generally avoided and it is called as stockout cost. All right, Sushmita, I'll repeat. Reorder level has two formulas. One is maximum consumption into maximum time. Here, that gives us an answer of 4 into 45, 180 units. And the alternate formula is safety stock plus average consumption into average time. Average consumption and average time is not given in this question. The consumption and times are given in probability. So the average consumption and average time will be calculated using the formula summation XI/PI, the expected value. When I applied this formula to the usage, you had 2 into 0.2, 3 into 0.6, 4 into 0.2. And when I applied it to the lead time, 25 into 0.2 plus 35 into 0.5 plus 45 into 0.3. So the lead times average is 36 days and average consumption daily usage is 3 tons per day. So if I go by the second formula, safety stock plus average consumption into average time, I have the answer for average consumption into average time, 36 into 8, which is 108. But what should be the safety stock? That is the question. Sushmita, is it clear now? So that depends upon what should be the safety stock depends upon what is the stock out cost. So see, if a stock out cost is 80,000, 100,000, lakhs, it's too high a cost. I'll not take any risk. And the carrying cost is 2,000. And if the carrying cost was just 2 rupees, even then I would not have taken any risk. I would have easily carried all the extra inventories of 72. So your maximum can go to 180. Your average is 108. Somewhere between, you might keep a safety stock. 0, and this safety stock will range from 0. So if you don't keep any safety stock, your reorder level is 108. But being most conservative also, your reorder level was 180. So 72 is the highest safety stock you will require to keep. The difference between 180 and 108. So we have to decide what should be the safety stock. Anything between 0 to 72. 72 is because even if you go by the most conservative formula, how many units would you order? 180. So you are not going to place an order above 180 units. And if you keep a zero safety stock, then also average consumption into average time is 108. So your reorder level has to lie somewhere between 180 to 108, right? What is the difference? 72. So if you keep a safety stock of 72, you are prepared for this situation. But if you keep a safety stock of 0, then you are not keeping any safety stock. And any time the consumption crosses 108. So if you consume more than 36 units, more than 3 tons any day, or if the lead time exceeds 36 days, you will be stock out. The stock out cost is 8,000 and the carrying cost is 2,000. So we have to strike a balance. Okay. I will want you to remember point 2, point 5, point 3 and point 2, point 6, point 2 and these days. So we have to first create a scenario. Your daily usage could be 2 tons, 3 tons or 4 tons, right? 2, 3, 4 with the probability of 0.2, 0.6 and 0.2. Now with 2 tons usage, lead time could be 25 days also, 35 days also, and 45 days also. This has a probability of 0.2, 0.5, and 0.3. Is this okay? I have just filled in the data that was given. So your consumption could be 2, 3, 4 with a probability of 0.2, 0.6, 0.2. Lead time, if the consumption is 2, lead time could be 25, 35, 45. If the consumption is 3, lead time could again be 25, 35, 45. And if the consumption is 4, lead time again could be 25, 35, and 45. Now, what is the probability of this scenario happening? 2 days, 2 units consumed, and 25 days. So what would be the consumption? 2 into 25, the consumption would be 50 tons. 2 into 35, 70 tons. 2 into 45, 90 tons. Okay? Agree, everyone? Now, if your reorder level was 108, you are absolutely safe in all the 3 situations. What is the joint probability of this? 0.2 into 0.2, 0.04. 0.2 into 0.5, 0.10. 0.2 into 0.3, 0.06. This is how we will calculate. Now let's say 3 tons consumption, 25 days. 3 tons for 25 days is consumption of 75. 3 tons for 35 days is 3 into 35, 105. Okay, this is 3 into 35. 3 into 45, 135. Consumption is 3 into 25. 3 into 35. 3 into 45. This is your consumption. Your average consumption into average time was say 108. If you have kept a zero safety stock, you are safe here, 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 but here you are not safe. Danger zone. How much? You have kept a safety stock of 0 and you have placed the reorder level at 108, but your consumption exceeded to 135. So you are stock out by 27 units. Yes, okay. Then further consumption, 4 into 25, 100. Again, you are safe. 4 into 35, 140. Again, this is a situation of danger. How much? 140 was the consumption. 108 was your reorder level without safety stock. So you will be stock out by 32 units. And 4 into 45 is 180. Here you will be stock out by 72 units. Okay. So these are your situations of stock out. This one, and this one. Probabilities are same, 0.2, 0.5, 0.3, 0.2, 0.5, 0.3. So joint probability, 0.6 into 0.2 is 0.12. Point, yeah, and 0.6 into 0.05, 0.5 is 0.30, 0.6 into 0.3 is 0.18. 0.2 into 0.2, 0.04, 0.2 into 0.5, 0.10, and 0.2 into 0.3 is again 0.06. When you will make a total of this joint probability, it has to come as 1. Okay. So you can always in steps verify whether your calculations are correct or not. So this tells us there are 4 situations. Even if we keep a zero safety stock, that means our reorder level is 108. And if your reorder level is 108, there are only 3 situations when you are stock out. If the consumption goes to 135, if the consumption goes to 140, or if the consumption goes to 180. Rest all the figures are below 108. So there are 3 scenarios of being stock out with a probability of 0.18, with a probability of 0.10, and this one with a probability of 0.06. So how do we decide? So let's say I don't keep any safety stock, 0. So my stock out scenarios are 135, 140, and 180. 3 scenarios, right? Only 3 scenarios, 135, 140, and 180. 135 has a joint probability of 0.18. This scenario happening, the probability is 0.18. This scenario is 0.10, and the maximum consumption into maximum time scenario is 0.06. So this has a probability of 0.18, 0.10, and 0.06. So what will be the expected units of stock out? If I have a zero safety stock, it means my reorder level is 108. I ordered at 108, but the units required in this period turned out to be 135. So I'm stock out with 27 units. Here I'm stock out with 32 units. And here I'm going to be stock out with 72 units. The expected would be 27 into 0.18, 32 into 0.10, and 72 into 0.06. Expected stock out unit means multiply by the probability. Stock out scenario is 135 and you are stock out by 27. Stock out scenario of 140 with the stock out units of 32. Stock out scenario 180 with the stock out units of 72. So when you will add all this will be your expected stock out units. Do this calculation. Right. So 27 into 0.18 is 4.86. 32 into 0.10 will be 3.2. And 72 into 0.06 will be 4.32. So the expected stock out units becomes 4.86 plus 3.2 plus 4.32. The total stock out units are 12.38 and the stock out cost is 8,000. Okay, 12.38 into 8,000. So you'll be stock out by 99,040. Perfect. So 99,040 is your stock out cost. Carrying cost is 0 for the safety stock. How much is the safety stock? So you can say rather relevant carrying cost in deciding what should be the safety stock. So we are saying 0 safety stock. So the carrying cost is 0. And the total cost in this scenario will come out to be 99040. Let's now look at the second scenario when we decide let's be prepared for 135 units. Let us not allow this to happen. So let's keep reorder level at 135, which means we keep a safety stock of 27 units. In that scenario, there will be only two situations when you will be stock out. If then also the demand goes to 140, that means you will be stock out by 5 units, or the demand goes to 180, that means you will be stock out by 45 units, right? Stock out scenarios and stock out units. Now, what is the probability of this happening? 0.10. What is the probability of this happening? 0.06. So expected stock out units is 5 into 0.10, which is 0.5, and 45 into 0.06, which is 2.7. So your total stock out units is 2.7 plus 0.5, 3.2 units stock out into 8,000. So your total cost, stock out cost in this scenario would be 25,600. But you will also have a carrying cost, and carrying cost was 2,000. Okay. So how many units are you going to carry? 27, and 27 into 2,000. Why this time we are not dividing by 2? Because 27 units are safety stock. They are not going to be consumed. They will remain throughout. So the total cost comes out to be 54,000. Now 54,000 plus 25,600. In this scenario, your total cost is 79,600. Let us allow not even this thing to happen. So let us keep a safety stock of 32 units. If you keep a safety stock of 32 units, there is only one scenario in which you will be stock out. And as you have kept a reorder level at 140, there is only one scenario, 180, if you are stock out. And you'll have to keep a safety stock of 140 minus 108, that is 32 units. Now, what is the probability of being a stock out by 180 units? 0.06. And how many units you are stock out with? If you have a reorder level of 140 and the stock out situation scenario is by 180, so you will be stock out by 40 units. Yes, you will get the notes. So 40 units is the stock out units when the scenario is that the maximum consumption is reached 180 units during the lead period. So 40 into 0.6, 0.06. The probability of expected stock out units is 2.4, and the stock out costs will be 2.4 into 8,000. However, the carrying cost will be 32 into 2,000, 64,000. So the total cost would be 73,200. If I don't allow even this thing to happen, and if I keep a safety stock of 72 units, my stock out scenarios are nil. Expected stock out units is nil. Stock out costs would be nil. However, storing cost would be 72 into 2,000, 144,000. So what should be my decision? Where do I have the least cost? I have the least cost here. So I should keep a safety stock of 32. And my reorder level should be 32 units of safety stock plus average consumption into average time. So if I keep a safety reorder level at 140 units, right? 83, I'm sorry. Yeah, okay, so sorry. It's 83. So this situation is better. Thank you for pointing out that. Pushpender, thank you. So 79,600 is the best thing. So we should prepare ourselves for 135 only and let the scenario of 140 and 180 happen. So our safety stock would be uh, 27 units, not 32. 27 plus 108, and our reorder level is 135 units. So you see, if you keep a reorder level of 135 units, you are stock out in only these two situations, so you can take this much risk. So how much risk have you taken? You have taken 0.16% risk or 16% risk. Only these two situations you are stock out, so the risk is 16% or 0.16, right? So this is how you take a decision whether you have to keep a safety stock of how many units. So this becomes our best situation. We'll keep a safety stock of 27 units and be prepared ourselves for this situation of 135 units. See, the joint probability of this risk is also 18%. If you had kept a 0% zero safety stock, your risk was 18 plus 10, 28 and 6, 34% risk. But now you are taking only 16% risk, and that much risk is worth taking in a business decision. Storing cost calculation. Okay. Storing cost is always the safety stock that you take multiplied by 2000. 27 into 2000, 54,000. 32 into 2000, 64,000. 72 into 2000, 144,000. Why don't we half it? Why don't we say 27 by 2? Because this is not from where we are consuming. We are not consuming from safety stock. Safety stock is kept throughout the period. So here also your safety stock was 27 units, and here also your safety stock was 27 units. You are not using the safety stock. It is expected that there will not be any need, but if there is a need, we can use this. So team, there's one very important question based on this. But before I take up this question, I have shared this as an assignment with you. You can give it a try where I'll give you the crux. IPL Limited uses a small casting in one of its finished product. They are purchased from a foundry. IPL Limited purchases 54,000 castings per year at a cost of 800 per casting. So or annual usage is given 54,000 and 360 days you have to take in a year. Company estimates that cost 9,000 to place a single order. So cost of placing an order is 9,000 and 300 to carry one casting for 1 year. So storage or carrying cost is 300. Further mentioned is the raw material price, 800. Unless discounts are offered, this is kind of irrelevant. So the carrying cost is very high, saying, therefore it is carefully controlled temperature and humidity conditions are to be kept. ICAI illustration 7 also, almost same. Ma'am, sound not okay. You can't hear me? Okay. Maybe in between then. There might be some problem. So delivery time is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days. And percentage of time this occurs is 75, 10, 5, 5, 5. So if you will total this, 75 plus 10, 85 plus 5, 90, 95 and 100. So that means the probability that delivery time will take 6 days is 0.75. It will take 7 days is 0.10. It will take 8 days is 0.05. It will take 9 days is 0.05. And it will take 10 days is also 0.05. So 6 days is your delivery time, average time. What is the average consumption? We will calculate from the previous data. 54,000 is your total consumption in a year, assuming 360 days in a year. So 54,000 divided by 360, your per day consumption is 150. So here, 6 days into 150 makes it 900. Safety stock is what we have to decide, plus average consumption into average time comes out to be 900. So something plus 900. Now the question is asking, compute the EOQ. This will be simple. 2 into 54,000 into 9,000 divided by 300. This will be the EOQ. 2 into annual consumption into cost of placing an order divided by cost of storing. Now he's saying, assume that the company is willing to take 15% risk. 15% risk means not being prepared for the 10th day, not being prepared for the 9th day, and not being prepared for the 8th day. So you are taking risk for these 3 days. What if it takes 8 days, 9 days, 10 days? That means you are not taking 5, 5, 5. These 3 scenarios, you are taking the risk 15%, 5%, 5%, 5%. That means you want to prepare yourself for the 7th day. That delivery might take 7 days. So you keep a safety stock of 1 day. Okay. 6 days is your normal consumption and normal delivery time. But if you're wanting to take 15% risk, means you are not ready for the 8th, 9th, and 10th day, but you are ready for the if delivery takes 7 days. In this question, there is no variation in the consumption. Consumption is 150. The delivery time may vary 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So if you don't prepare for any extra days in delivery, generally 6 and you assume 6. That means you'll keep a 0 safety stock and you will keep the reorder level at 900, which means you are prepared for 75% of the circumstances and you are taking 25% risk. But you are taking only 15% risk. So be prepared for the 7th day and keep a safety stock of 150 units, 1 day's consumption. So your reorder level would be 1050. So if you keep a reorder level of 1050, you're taking a 15% risk. If you want to take only 5% risk, that means prepare yourself for the 9th day also. Prepare for 3 days. So keep a safety stock of 3 days, 450 plus 900. The reorder point or reorder level would be 1350 then. Okay. So this is how this question is done. It is exactly the same pattern as your illustration 7. Then what would be the total ordering and total carrying cost? So total ordering cost, you will calculate how many orders you are going to place by looking at the EOQ. And you will also calculate the storing cost from here. Plus you will add 450 into storing cost of 300. So you also add the storing cost on safety stock, right? So I'm sure this you will be able to manage. Okay, can you explain again? So the delivery time could be 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days, and your average is 6, and your per day consumption is 150. So once again, like previous question we have done, uh, if you keep zero safety stock, you are prepared for the sixth day. But if the delivery comes on seventh day, eighth day, ninth day, and 10th day, you are going to be out of stock. This has a probability of 0.10, this has a probability of 0.05, this has a probability of 0.05, and this has a probability of 0.05. So in totality, you're taking 25% risk. But you are not incurring any cost on safety stock, no carrying cost. However, he's saying don't take 25% risk, only take 15% risk. That means keep a safety stock of for the seventh day. And that means if the delivery takes 8 days, 9 days, 10 days, then you are out of stock by 0.05, 0.05, and 0.05. So you are out of stock by 15%. Risk is 15%. Okay. If you are taking only 5% risk, then means prepare, just keep the 10th day possibility as a stuck out situation. Prepare yourself for another 3 days, 7th, 8th, and 9th day. So if per day consumption is 150, you keep a safety stock of 450. And in all these safety stock, when you add the average consumption into average time, you get the reorder point. Is it clear now? Then he's asking what is, if you take 5% risk, what is ordering cost and storage cost? Okay. So we have calculated the EOQ here. 2 into 54,000 into 9,000 divide by 300 and under the root. So this comes out to be 1,800 units. 54,000 units are ordered. 1,800 units are ordered at a go. So you are going to place 30 orders in a year. 30 orders at 9,000 per order is your placing cost. And storage cost would be 1,800 divided by 2 multiplied by 300. But at 5% risk, you are also keeping a safety stock of 450. So this is to be multiplied. 450 plus 900, 1,350 into 300. So your storage cost would be 4,05,000 and placing cost would be 270. So 6,75,000 would be your total placing and storage cost if you keep a safety stock of 450 units. Okay, in this question, average consumption per day is not given, but it is not varying also. It's very clearly said 54,000 castings are used throughout the year. Assume 360 days in a year. So your per day consumption is fixed at 54,000 divided by 360, 150. I'll keep the slide here. You can note down this working. Right? So I hope this is clear. Okay. So we have done EOQ, we have done reorder levels, we have done safety stock, we have understood the process flow of the ordering of the inventories. Next, we talk about an important thing. We have two more things for the stores. One is pricing of issues, and the other is pricing of receipts. So whatever the raw material that you receive in your organization, how are you going to price the receipts? There is one very fundamental concept in costing. Any normal loss has to be absorbed by good units. Remember this, this will be applicable in all the chapters. Any normal loss has to be absorbed by good units, whereas any abnormal loss is charged to the costing P&L account. So when you have any consignment coming in your organization, if there is a price for that, if you have to pay excise duty on that, sales tax, discounts are deducted. You don't pay the trade discounts. So that should not be part of the cost of the product. Insurance is a cost which should be a part of the product or the raw material. Delivery charges is a direct cost. It is also normal. So this should also be a part of the product. Then sometimes you have to also pay extra for the cost of containers. So let's say rupees 60 per container and 50 kg of raw material is there in one container. So whatever is your requirement. So if your requirement is 100 kgs, you want two containers, right? So you'll have to pay additional 120 rupees. 60 into 2 into 60. However, sometimes these containers are returnable also. Here also we can see a rebate is allowed at the rate of 40 per container if returned within 6 weeks. And this is normal. That means you will return the containers. So it will not cost you 60, it will cost you only 60 minus 40, 20 rupees. Okay. So cost of containers is part of the cost, but if they are returnable and it is quite unusual to return those containers, what cost you actually bear on the containers, only that should be charged to the product. Then one container's load of material was rejected on inspection and not accepted. And there is another cost of unloading and handling. Now, loading cost is there for all the containers. But while unloading, as you have rejected on inspection, so unloading and handling will not be done for that container which is rejected. So you have to find out what is the per cost of material per kg of the raw material. So this is how you will price the receipt. When you are receiving the raw material in the unit in the organization, what should be the price per unit you will record that at. So if you look at the price, it is 20 per kg. You also have to pay an excise duty. So there is a trade discount also 10%. Therefore, it is saying excise is on net invoice price. So first you will deduct the trade discount, which is 10%. You can take it on the entire consignment also, 1250 kgs. So if I assume that this 50 kg of material loss is normal, which is rejected, so I'll prepare a statement showing cost of material Z per kg. So raw material cost was at the rate of 20 rupee per kg. Total 1250 kgs raw material was purchased. So 20 kg and 1250 kgs was purchased, less trade discount 10%. So I'll charge it 1250 into 18. 10% on 20 is 2 rupees per kg. Then you have to pay excise duty. Regarding excise duty, you have to take care whether input credit is available or not. If input credit is available, this is not your cost. Then this is not a part of cost. However, if input credit is not available, here as in this question, nothing is mentioned about excise duties, input credit. So if no input credit is available, we'll assume 25% on 18. It turns out to be 4 rupees. Sorry, it will be 25% of 18. 4.5 rupees. So this will be added to the cost of material. Then you have sales tax, which is 8% of net invoice price, including excise duty. So this is 4.5. This is 20 minus 2, that is 18 plus 4.5, which is 22.5, and 8% on 22.5. Sales tax would be 1.8. You can calculate this in a working note and show it there. So 1250 into 1.8 would be the cost of sales tax also. Then you have an insurance 1% on net invoice price. So all these are direct costs, which will be a part of your cost of material. It is not just the raw material cost, but all other costs also. 1% on net invoice price is 18. So 0.18. So you will add up all these costs. Then delivery charges in totality 250. Cost of containers. As one container is rejected and you have not accepted, so you will accept only 1200 kgs. Each container is of 50 kgs. Your requirement is 1250 kgs. So 1250 kgs divided by 50 kgs. How many containers were you ordering? 25 containers, right? But one container is rejected, so you have accepted only 24 containers. So container cost would be on container cost would be at the rate of 60 minus 40, 20 rupee per container, and there will be 24 containers. And from now on, you would calculate the cost of 1200 kgs of raw material only. Further, uh, loading, unloading, and handling 0.25 per kg. So 1200 into 0.25. This cost will also be calculated on 1200 kgs only. Unloading and handling. On the basis of above, you have to find out the landed cost per kg of material Z. So you will calculate all these costs. You will take the total and delivery charges 250, container cost on 24 containers, and total loading unloading on 1200 kgs of raw material. And when you add up all these costs and divide it by the total landed cost of material, which is 1200 kgs, you will find out the cost per kg of material Z. So this is how it will be recorded in your stores as receipt. If I buy 1000 kgs of raw material, and if I am told that there would be 2% normal loss, so whatever the total cost comes out to be, I will divide it by 980 kgs to find the effective cost of raw material per kg. So this is how you calculate the receipts. So whatever the costs are there, we'll take up one more question from the illustration exam, your ICAI material, and we'll discuss how you calculate the receipts. And this is about pricing of issues. So like we have said, how you purchase the raw material and how you keep it in stores. At what price will you keep it in stores is shown here. And from stores, when the production departments asks for these units, at what price will you issue? So there is some concept in the stores as bin cards, stock cards, and stores ledger. So what happens is if there are many types of raw material, and this is your store, everywhere you have kept the raw material, you will put a bin along with it, a card along with the bin, where you will have the complete information like what is the reorder level, maximum level, minimum level of this particular stock. So bin cards are kept together with the stocks where the stock bins are there so that you have immediate information on the position of the raw material of that material in the bin. Similarly, stock cards will also give you the quantitative information about what are the units of each stock But here, all the stocks is not kept at near the bins, but at one particular place. Stores ledger just not gives you the details about the quantity of raw material, but it also gives you information about the costs. So money wise also, we can see from the stores ledger what is the value of the stocks that we have. How the raw materials are issued from stores department to the production department at what price. We have certain methods for that, which is one of them is FIFO. FIFO means first in, first out. So you have received material. On 1st January, you have received raw material 300 kgs at 8.50. On 10th January again, you have received 400 kgs at 8. 15th January, 500 kgs at 6. 28th January, 400 kgs at 5.5. So from these raw material which you are receiving in the stores through purchase order, you are also issuing this material to the production department on the basis of material requisition note. So on 2nd January, the production requested 100 kgs. First in, first out means whatever the unit is lying oldest in the stores, that will be issued first. So on 1st January, we received a material of 300. So this on 2nd January, the 100 units will be issued from the 300 kgs. There is no other option. We don't have any other lot. However, on 10th January, what will happen? From these 300, only 100 units were issued. So you have 100 units of 200 units of the raw material which was purchased on 1st January and 400 units of raw material which was purchased on 10th January in the balance, right? You had 300 kgs, out of which 100 is issued. So you have now 200 kgs of raw material from 1st January and 400 kgs of raw material from 10th January. So now when you will issue it on 11th January, 500 units. So total is 600 and you have 500 units to be issued. So you will have a balance of 100. So which units will go for pricing purposes as these 500 units? FIFO says first in, first out. So as per FIFO, this will be 200 units which were issued on 1st January, first in, first out. And the remaining 300 will be from the lot which we received on 10th January. This is first in, first out. Right. First 200, then 300. Had it been LIFO, LIFO means last in, first out. So last in, first out, had this been the scenario, the 400 units of 10th January would have gone first, and then another 100 units from this lot. So the last we received was 400, they will go first, and from 1st January only 100 units will go. So in FIFO, your stock, closing stock would be 100 units at the rate of this lot. That means 100 at the rate of 8. Whereas in LIFO, your 100 units that will remain is from this lot. That means the closing stock will be 100 into 8.5. There is another method which is called weighted average or simple average. Had you taken 8.5 plus 8 is divided by 2, which is 8.25. But if you take weighted average, you will calculate that you had 200 kgs of stock which was priced at 8.50. So 1700 and 400 kgs was priced at 8. That means 3200. So the total is 4900 of cost with 600 units. So this you will calculate here. 4900 divided by 600. It will be priced at 8.16. So in weighted average, we merge the two. The entire 500 units will be sold at 8.167, issued at 8.167, and the closing stock would be also 100 into 8.167. Okay. So this is how we proceed in FIFO, LIFO weighted average. There are other methods also based on cost. We have simple average, which could be 8.5 and 8 divided by 2. There is weighted average, simple average, LIFO, next in, first out. Then there are some methods which are based on market price. So we see the replacement price. That means what will be the current replacement price if we buy the material now? Or we can see the realizable value. So what if this is sold in the market today? This will fetch us what? These are some of the market price methods. And there is also some notional methods, like we can take a inflated price, we may take a standard price, which means they are not the cost, they are not the market price, but we have calculated it in some way or we have kept it at standard. But majorly, the questions are from cost method of issuing prices, which is LIFO, FIFO, weighted average. Let us do this question. When we've received 300, 400, 500, and 400 kgs at 8.58 and 6 and 5 on 1st, 10, 15, and 28. Issues were on 2nd, 11, 18, and 28. So this is how you prepare the stores ledger. You have date, receipts, issues, and balance. So this is the stores ledger. Let's first prepare it on the basis of FIFO. Right, giving the answers, good. So 1st January, then 2nd January was an issue. 10th January, again, there is receipts. 11th January, again, we have issued. 15th January, again, there is receipts. 18th January, issues. 28th January, receipts first, let's say, and then issues. Right? First 10, 15, 28, 2, 11, 18, 28. 300, 400, 500, and once again 400. At the rate of 8.5, 8, 6, and 5.5. 300 into 8.5, 2550, 3200, 3000, 2200. Issues on 2nd January, 100. Then on 11th January, 500. 18th January, 400. And then 300. So whether the question is of perpetual inventory or periodic, this much information you can fill beforehand. Whatever is given in the question, please put it in the solution as it is till here. Now we start with the question. So if it is a perpetual inventory system, your balance would have been 300 into 8.5, 2550. Out of this, when 100 units are issued, what is it that you have in stock? You have only one category of lot. So this will be issued at 8.5. 8500 is gone. And now you are left with 200 units at 8.5 worth 1700. However, when on 10th January you receive fresh stocks, that time your stocks are now 200 at the rate of 18.5 and 400 at the rate of 8. So maybe you write the initial amount left, or you may write the total here, 1700 and 3200. So the most important question comes up here, 500. So since it is FIFO, first this will go, and the remaining units will go from here, 300 from here. So the price of this 200 is at 8.5, and this 300 is at the rate of 8. So this 1700 lot will go completely, and 2400 from here. So 1700 plus 2400, 4100. What will be left is only 100 units of the lot which we received on 10th January. You can verify your answer from here. 1700 plus 3200 minus 4100 will give you 800. Then you received another lot on 15th January. So now your stocks have 100 at the rate of 8 and 500 at the rate of 6. Now when you will issue 400 units as per FIFO, first this 100 will go and the remaining 300 will go from the 500 unit lot. So 100 at the rate of 8 and 300 at the rate of 6. 800 and 1800, 2600. The balance you will be left with is 200 units at the rate of 6, 1200. You can always write the total amount here, 800 and 3000. So you can write the 3800 here. So out of 3800, if 2600 goes, 1200 remains. Then you have another lot received, 200 into 6 and 400 into 5.5. So once again, 300 units are to be issued. First, this 200 will go, and then another 200 will go from here. So 200 will go at the rate of 6 and 100 will go at the rate of 5.5. Balance remaining would be 300 at the rate of 5.5, 1650. $3,400 minus 1750 is 60. Is it clear? This was perpetual. FIFO doesn't give a different answer whether it is periodic or it is perpetual. It is same. Right. Okay. If we did the same question using LIFO, and in LIFO, I'll tell you the difference between periodic and perpetual. So first I'll do perpetual and then we'll talk about periodic. We have constraint of time. So I'm going to erase this only and I'll show you here. So now I'm moving on to LIFO perpetual. So you had a balance of 300 units at the rate of 8.5, 25.50. There is no option. These 100 units will go at the rate of 8.5, 850. Balance 200 will remain at the rate of 8.5, 1700. Then you receive again. So now you have 200 units at the rate of 8.5 and 400 units at the rate of 8. So now when LIFO is applied and 500 units are to be issued, first this will go. 400 will go at the rate of 8.5. This is 8, sorry. 400 will go at the rate of 8 and 100 will go at the rate of 8.5. So the 100 units that will remain is from this lot of 8.5. Then you again have 500 units, 100 into 8.5 and 500 into 6. Then when you are issuing 400 units, these 400 units will come from here only. So 6 rupees. What is left is 100 of 8.5 and 100 of 6. Further you receive 400 units, then your lot is 100 at the rate of 8.5, 100 at the rate of 6, and another 400 at the rate of 5.5. So now when 300 units will be issued, they'll be issued from here. 300 at the rate of 5.5. So you will have balance of 100, 100, 100 of all the three lots at 8.5, 6, and 5.5. So in FIFO, whatever was remaining from here. But in LIFO, 100 units from this lot, 100 from this, and 100 from this remains in the as closing stock. This was LIFO perpetual. If I would take LIFO periodic, I will assume that first this 400 will go. So this 100 will also go at 5.5. This 500, 300 will go at 5.5 and remaining 100 will go at 200 will go at 6. So this lot will also be finished. 300 will remain from here. When I have to issue these 400 units, 300 will go from here and 100 will go from here. So only 300 of this and 300 of this will remain. And finally, last 300, this will also go and this will only remain. This will be the value of closing stock in LIFO periodic. So periodic doesn't mean that I'm going to issue on 2nd January the lot which I receive on 28th, but I'll price the issue at the lot I receive on 28th. So I'll just issue the raw material, but I'll sit down at the end of the period, at the end of month on 31st January, and at that time I'll do the pricing. So if LIFO periodic, my last price is 5.5. So first I'll dispose of these 400 units at 5.5, then this. One small aspect I'll tell you here. Sometimes the raw materials are also returned. If they are returned, again, they can be returned to the vendor. So that means we have returned to the vendor, or the production has returned to stores. Return can mean two things. Production returning to stores. So if, for example, out of this 300, 100 turned out to be defective and I have to return it, maybe I return it here. But whenever I'm following LIFO, FIFO, whatever method, I will not issue 100 units from here. I will only issue 200 units from here. And whatever the date is given, returned, 100 into 8.5 returned. It will be shown towards the issues, but it will be mentioned returned to vendor. So the question says that these units were defective, be sure that don't issue them at all. And whenever the date is given, return it to the vendor. However, if Out of this 100, 20 units were returned by the production floor to the stores. I will add, let's say they were returned on 20. I'll show it as here. I'll show it as fresh receipts, 20 into 8.5. And I'll add it to my closing stock. So next time, if it is LIFO, first this will go, then this, then this, then this. But if it is LIFO, first I'll issue these 20 units. So this is how you treat the return to vendor and return to stores, right? Team, there is one more important concept. Blank sheet somewhere. There is a concept of ABC analysis. So ABC says that you categorize your or classify your raw material into three categories. Category A, which is highest in value, but less in number of units. Category B, moderate in value, moderate in units. And category C, which is low in value, high in units. So what will you do? You will take all the units and calculate for all raw material what is the percentage of the total units. Okay. I'll stop sharing this. Let me share the study material with you. Okay. So material control you have seen. What is the requirement of material control? Three elements: procurement control, storage control, and usage control. In procurement control, we have seen how the material goes. Bill of material is a very important control document, which is kind of an analysis of what the production will require. And a copy of it is circulated to purchase department, production department, stores department, and cost accounting department. So when production is asking for the stores from the stores that they want material, stores is also having an idea, yes, this is the material they will want. And when stores ask the purchase department that we want material to be purchased, the purchase department through bill of material already has a information or idea or a reference that yes, these materials will be required by stores to be purchased. Similarly, when the accounting department is making a payment, they are also aware that this is required to be paid. So bill of material is not something like invoice, it is different. So particularly, we have seen valuation of material, so discounts would be deducted, cash discount is not deducted, subsidies are deducted, and any other direct taxes, if input credit is not available, they are added, otherwise not. Any abnormal charge is not added, and any other direct charges are added. Cost of containers I have explained, and shortage due to normal reason is to be borne by good units. So here chemical A and B, customs, railway freight. So these prices are given. Custom should be divided based on value. Freight should be divided based on the ratio of quantity. And then if you expect certain raw material to be lost due to normal, you will subtract that and good units will bear the total cost then. So entire cost will be borne by 9310 units. These are your reorder levels, which we have done. This is the stock control chart that we were talking. Stockout situation. So this was the question. See, stockout tires 100 by 100 units. So you two times this happened. So if you keep a safety stock of 100, you will not be stock out anytime, right? And this has a probability of 33%. So zero stock out, 33%. If you keep a stock out of 80, safety stock of 80, then you are stock out in only this situation by 20 units. So this is how that is calculated. If you keep a safety stock of 50 units, you are stock out in these two situations by 50 and 30 units. Okay. Respective probabilities are given and the same question we have done. Japanese follow a just-in-time inventory. They don't want to pile up anything in the stores. Whatever is, when they need it, it is only then they place an order, and they receive it exactly the time they will receive. It's called the demand push and pull. There are two concepts. Push means you manufacture stock with yourself and you push the public or the customers to take demand. And pull means when they ask you to demand something, it is then you prepare for them. So JIT follows pull system. Here is ABC. You have ABC, FSN, fast moving, slow moving, non-moving items. You have VED, which is vital, essential, and desirable items. And similarly, cost-wise, high, medium, and low. So this is how you divide it into categories. So if units are given, cost is given. First, you calculate the total and find out how much is each raw material as a percentage of total units. Similarly, you find out the total value of the raw materials, all the raw materials, and find out how much is each percentage of the total cost. So you pick up highest percentage and rank it. So 20, 16, 22. So this goes first rank, this goes second rank. So when you keep on adding first rank, third rank, second rank, third rank, fourth rank, till you reach 75% items, they become your category A. Then another 20-30% of the value becomes category B and remaining becomes category C. Team, this is all from my side. If you have any specific question, you can put it in the question bank and maybe I'll take it in the next session. But in the next session, we are going to discuss about employees cost, right? So I try to cover the entire concept of uh, material costing, and I hope the session was fruitful to you. Thank you, all of you. Any queries? Yes, if they don't have any queries, I'm done. Thank you.